Alright, so even though I might not even be around, especially after this update, especially if it doesn't go this way, for PvP season 4 or whatever the next season is, this is my opinion on what I would like to see and would like to occur. You know, the gear should stay the same. I don't really want the roll gear back because some tanks would overpower trollers and they didn't even have enough skill points to do it. So I do want the rolls back without clamping. I do want a tank to be able to hit like a DPS if you wanted to, or healer hit like a DPS, or have home turf. Of course, I want all that back. You know, but I don't want the gear to change. I want the gear to stay the same, where it's just one set of gear so nobody complains about it, due to the fact that I've been playing the game every era. I've been in every era. I've been here since the beginning. And one of the biggest complaints, and I'm going to name drop in this one. I'm going to name drop a lot. One of the biggest complaints that Nimbus the Bum Yosh had, that he wouldn't fight Titanium Shark or wouldn't fight me, was because I'm always in troller gear, that is the Diamond Part troller. So what this would do would be able to separate the fakes from the real. You know what I'm saying? So keep the gear the same, so nobody has no excuse, or because you got healer gear on, or because you got tank gear on, or because you got troller gear. Every gear stays the same, but you give the troller back its 300 dominance or whatever dominance, extra dominance that you would give it. Of course, you would give the tank back this dominance for being a tank roll. Of course, that would happen. Yes, but no confidence buff. You know, you would not all of a sudden have confidence, 35% confidence because of no confidence buff. You would be based on stats. You know what I mean? Prismatic mods should also be able to allow you to input home turf mods in there too. I say that one of the issues everybody had with home turf was only acrobatics was able to do the rolling thing. I think that should be an option that any power, whether you're flight or skimming or acrobatic or whatever the case may be, as long as you put that mod in, you should be able to roll around. I think that would be fair to the game, to the community. You know, that would be fair to the community. Also, for the next update, I would like for them to add a move called teleport, where they would fix, of course, fix quantum tunneling back to normal, where it reduces 100% damage, and put the shields back to normal, of course, put all the rolls back to normal. Definitely put everything back to normal before update 41. I would want update 40, because update 41 is when they before update 40, because even update 41 was awful, but update 40 is when everybody became predictable, where you had to have a healer debuff to debuff a healer or whatever. No. I believe you still can go back to role specific, where a healer or a troll can beat a healer, but he doesn't get a buff. No, I don't think he should get no buff against the healer. He can debuff a healer and reduce a healer's either the critical magnitude or critical percent chance, one or the other. It can't be the whole thing. It can't, like, you know what I mean? The healer still has that fighting chance, because the troll is gonna hit like a DPS still. You know what I mean? So still allow him to debuff, but let it be any power, anything that the troller does, he debuffs. You know what I mean? But he can only debuff one out of the 3 assets, whether it's restoration or critical healing chance or critical healing magnitude. There's only one, because I still see in DPS role that, now the way the game is now with that gear, that a troller can really, do some damage to a healer still, or you know what I mean. But try to make it fair in a way. Bring back 3 different styles of arena. So we have 3 styles. We have this style right now that we have. Of course, we won't change the way PvP is right now. I don't believe it should be changed right now. I believe you should keep it. I do believe, though, you should bring back the other 2 styles of PvP, which included home turf, which is we had the death matches, but I don't want it to be death matches. I just want it to be the rules that the death matches had, where you couldn't use supply drop, sidekick, and airstrike. You can only use, your regular trinkets. You would have home turf in your gear, and I believe that should be one game mode. With the new UI coming out, I believe the system should be able to sustain such a game mode, where we can have this PvP that we have now to satisfy the players who enjoy this style of PvP. The PvP we had, which was the options that they had in deathmatch, but for all the arenas, though, because we have so many arenas, and the beauty of this game since I've been in every era, I fought in every era. Is the beauty of this game, is being able to use all the arenas. Um, so allow that with all the arenas. And also, last but not least, is I would call this an elite PvP, where there is no rules, but you would have to have PvP gear. No PvE. Anything with defense would not be allowed in a PvP arena. Anything with defense, anything with the stat defense in a period where there's gold. I know you guys love your gold. It just should not be included. So you can have any trinket you want, any consumable you want, any belt that you want, as long as it's PvP related. As PvP gear, you can use any PvE related consumable or PvP related consumable. For season 4, I'm hoping that when home turf does return, that you're allowed to buy it with marks of valor or whatever mark for PvP there is, so that the players who really just strictly PvP are able to use their home turf. Because even though a player like me has 213 skill points, and if a player has 110 skill points, and he has home turf and I have home turf, doesn't mean that I necessarily will beat him. Because the game is still, when home turf was around before update 41 occurred, which I still want to go back to update 40, but even if it goes back to update 41, that it still was about block and block break. It was a great game. It was a great game. After update 41, it became a terrible game, but it was a great game before update 41. So I would love to see that again. I would love to see in a arena that has everything again. No rules. My favorite type of arena. Layers everywhere. You know what I mean? No rules. Because when I did my layer feat, which I can show you guys, there was no rules. I felt like the rules to contain somebody with powers of a god should not exist. You know what I mean? It's like, it just shouldn't exist. There should be no rules. I don't even know what this thing's about at all. There should be no rules. Skill cheat debuff. Should that be added back? Yes, it should. I believe it made it fair. People had different styles of playing. I believe that would make this game similar to Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and Bleach, where I couldn't get off this game. There's no way in hell that before update 41 that I would be playing Dragon Ball Z. Just telling this right now. I'm just speaking the truth. No way in hell. Let me tell you that right now. Meps, Spittle, Tunsil, and the rest of the development team. There's no way in hell that before update 41 that I would even look at Dragon Ball XENOVERSE. And you know why? Because they were making it since 2013. They were afraid of you guys. Okay? They waited for you guys to mess up PvP, and then they dropped Dragon Ball Z. I'm just telling you guys that right now. They waited for you guys to mess up, and they knew you guys would mess up because you guys fell for the trolls on the forum, not knowing that you created a game that nobody else could create. And you destroyed it after that. The mechanics, you just killed it. You just basically, that's why I called you guys Hyundai driving bums, because you guys don't know what you did. You guys love Hyundais. And anyways, Ford Temples. There should be an all-out arena added to PvP. What I mean by all-out arena, an arena where you have a Royal Rumble, and we have league halls now. So I believe a league hall should be an arena for Royal Rumble. If you're in a league, you should be able to have that. I also believe that a new PvP pack is necessary. I believe that the pack should be consumed with 2 packs at one, $10 to $20. The whole pack should be $20. It should be a $20 pack. The reason why I say so, because of the fact that it's gonna cost a little bit to have all 3 of those features in PvP, which is the feature that we have now, PvP, and the other 2 features that we had the previous seasons of PvP. And I believe it's just necessary due to the fact that if anybody wants to play the elite PvP, that they know that they paid to play the elite PvP, so that they're not complaining about it, because it's something that they pay, that they option to pay for to participate in. So to let the person know that, okay, listen, we're not going to take, I don't believe the developers deserve any crap for creating that PvP, the option. It's not going to divide the community to have 3 different PvPs. Hopefully soon they will create a multi-server. They'll merge the server you know, make it like a superior server, whatever you want to call it, and have a whole bunch of, you know, we can play with PC and play with Europe, and which would be great, and that would also fill it up. But the community has grown in so many ways, and sometimes it feels like it hasn't. So I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it has, sometimes it feels like it hasn't. I see new faces. I collect their names, so I know that, you know, there's a lot of new names sometimes, but sometimes they're not on. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, it seems like to me like sometimes PvP is dying, you know, and that's why I've been playing Dragon Ball Z. Um, so I believe the option would give people more to choose from, and I believe the queues would be great. You know, villains and heroes would queue up. Some guys who do PvE would queue up more if they knew that, you know, they could use their home turf and stuff. You know, they would queue up. I know there's a lot of leagues out there, PvE leagues, that don't PvP no more because they can't use their home turf that they use in PvE. So that's another thing that killed PvP, that a lot of PvE leagues don't PvP no more because they can't use their PvE items in PvP like they used to, which was some of their favorite items, and mine too. You guys know I stayed in a PvE league for so many years. You know, with that being said, I want weapon mastery and advanced mechanic to stay in PvP. I know a lot of you guys don't want that, but if they were to take it out, games like Bleach, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse would destroy them even more. You know, so they can't take out advanced mechanic, and they cannot take out weapon mastery because it would be very boring. You guys are speaking of a mechanic that was made in 2009. We're in 2015. You know, you're speaking of a mechanic that was made in 2009, guys. That's the mechanic you would like to play with? That is not interesting. That's what destroyed DC Universe, going back to a mechanic that was made in 2009, the PvP style that is here. Only good thing about it that I noticed, that I also do say to keep, is that they keep the colas. That was great. That was a great addition. They keep the colas. You know, I believe that's great. I just want them to change the way you get home turf mods, where they allow you to get a PvP mark, so the guys who PvP can get home turf. I believe that'd be fair. As long as they own home turf, they should be able to get home turf. However, in the game, you know, whatever marks in the game, they should be able to get home turf. They should be able to. They paid for it. They shouldn't have to just do PvE to get home turf. They should be able to do PvP and get home turf. That's fair. You know, I believe the gear does cost too much. Not to say whose video I watched, but he was right. The gear costs too much. The gear costs way too much. The gear should be lowered. The mark should be more, and the gear should be lowered. Why? Because I want these PvE leagues to get involved in PvP. Stop making it so uninteresting for them not to get involved. I feel like it's being purposely done, where you make it so many marks for people to play PvP. You put out $20 or $10 DLC, and you don't make it cost so many marks to get the gear. Believe me, they'll buy it. They'll get the gear. They'll love it. The PvE people will love it because it's part of Legendary. It's going to be skill points. You know, it's going to be feats. You added weapon mastery. Now let them enjoy it by giving them the skill points to use it. You know, give the feats out there, please. Put the feats out there so they can use them. So they can use them. You know, so they could. I'm gonna save this, upload it, and see how much time I got left, and just continue.